Hello and welcome back. So the Arena Power Cube went up for its second time. They made a lot of changes, and it's been online since January 6th, so about a week of data or halfway through this cube run. And there's some preliminary data we can look at. First of all, I love this visual of the cards, by the way, on their website. They talk about all of their philosophy and the changes they made and stuff, and the biggest, most interesting thing to me, they said, let's talk about Boros. Because Boros was the best archetype, not even close, in the last run of the Arena Powered Cube. And so they did, this whole paragraph about how they're going to be cutting it and stuff. So I took that and compiled it into a quick plot. It's not the best plot, but it doesn't matter too much because there's just a couple cards to talk about. But they actually did make quite a few changes. You can see white, they cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 cards from white. They cut like 10 or 12 cards from red, and a couple of the hybrid cards too. So that's pretty cool. Main things they cut, I'm actually surprised they did cut Guide of Souls. That guy is like one of the best white cards. They cut Kythian, they cut Luminarch Aspirant, and Skyclave Apparition too. Like those 3 or 4 are pretty integral to the normal white deck. Sanguine Evangelist, hilariously enough, did have the previous like highest win rate for like the white cards. Worth mentioning. And they added some fun cards like Cloud, Sam, like more synergy based cards, which is pretty cool. I think that's what anyone can hope for. I am surprised they actually cut like the iconic cards. I think Guide of Souls is quite iconic at this point, but it is one of the best one drops ever. So they cut a lot of cheap stuff and they added a lot of expensive stuff. You'll see like Timeless Dragon, 2 Wrath effects. I guess this is also Wrath effect. So they cut a bunch of cheap stuff and added a bunch of Wraths in white. In blue, they cut some cards for some other cards. They added Universes Beyond. So we get like Stern Scolding, Lorien Revealed. We get Wan Shi Tong, which is pretty good, and cut some fairly middling cards. A lot of changes in black. They added even more Wrath effects in black. They added Orcish Bowmasters, which is huge. Not too many big cuts, except they cut the Dark Depths Thespian Stage combo. So Vampire Hexmage is finally gone. Yeah. Black, just some good like swaps. Red is interesting because they cut Gut and Goblin Rabble Master, which that is actually, and Death Greater's Champion. Those 3 were really strong. So they cut a lot of good 3s. And they replaced it with like Rampaging Raptor, Angie's Ravager, Amped Raptor, that kind of thing. So that is a pretty significant. They also did not add as many red cards as they cut. Is that the same for white? No, white is the same. So they cut more red cards and didn't add as many. That's interesting. And then for green, they cut a lot of like the lands themes and they added Badgermole Cub. Delighted Halfling over Avacyn's Pilgrim makes total sense. Some really expensive cards, some other stuff there. They cut Emrakul, Ulamog, and Ulamog, but they kept Channel in the cube. That's actually very surprising to me. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. But they added the One Ring, Bahamut, that kind of thing. Pretty cool. They cut a lot of the talismans too, which I love to see. The talismans suck so much. They didn't cut all of them, but cutting 4 is a really good start. So pretty happy with those changes. Multicolor, we lost Knight of the Reliquary. I'm pretty sad to see go. I think the card's good. But they added some sweet cards. I guess Arwen might be better. Vivi. And then lands, they cut Dark Depths Thespian Stage. They cut Yavimaya. Get out of there. I hate that card. And they added Starting Town and then 2 of the Avatar cards. So let's go into roughly what we can get from the 1 week of data we have. So here's a graph of all of the color pairings. And on the x-axis is play rate change. So like percent increase means people are drafting this deck more often or registering the deck more often. To left is people are doing it less often. A major thing you'll notice here is Boros. The play rate went from 22% of decks playing Boros down to 14.5% of decks. So that's a very significant decrease in how much Boros is being played, which is kind of cool. And we can see the win rate didn't go down that much. It dropped by about 1.4%. It is still exceptionally high at 59.3%. So as far as the data goes, Boros still had the highest, or at least very close to the highest win rate, but the prevalence is much lower. So it might still be excellent, but if it's not showing up nearly as much, I think that's a good sign. Other things that lost win rate: mono white dropped its win rate from 61 to 58%, and mono red dropped its win rate from 61 to 58%. The play rate didn't really change, but the mono-colored decks didn't get played that much in either format. Like you can see, mono red is 0.4% of the meta, whereas currently Boros is 14% of the meta. So like if you're playing 5 games, you can expect to see it one time, half a time, which is kind of cool. Win rate change, so that not too much play rate change besides Boros. That's like a this is such a dramatic decrease in play rate change. That's incredible. Win rate change: Bant got quite a bit better. Mardu also got quite a bit better, and Selesnya also got quite a bit better. So it looks like people moved from white-red into green-white a little bit, right? Because Bant, Mardu, Selesnya, mono green went from 52% to 56% win rate. And its play rate almost doubled, which is actually, right, 1.6 to 2.3. I guess that's like a 50% play rate increase. It's still not very high, but mono green winning 56% puts it in one of the top archetypes. Mono black got better. Not red got better, but it's still not winning very much. Naya also improved. So it seems like kind of Boros, people stopped playing Boros and they moved into Izzet and Jeskai and Azorius, Rakdos and Orzhov, which is, I think that is a good, healthy change, right? Instead of being so clustered in one color pairing, now the white and the red cards are being more equally distributed across other pairings. It's still very mismatched. Like Orzhov, let's look at like Azorius, right? Blue-white is a very prevalent color combo. It's getting played, it's 7% of the meta. So Boros is being drafted and played at twice the rate that Azorius is. Twice the rate of Izzet, 3 times the rate of Jeskai, almost 4 times. Same with Grixis, stuff like that. Mono blue got played less, slightly, and the win rate isn't, dramatic that much. Not green dropped its win rate, and Gruul also dropped its win rate by a tiny amount. So really not too much specific changes besides mono green got a lot better, or at least within the first week of data. Boros is being played way less, but it's not that much worse. Mono white and mono red are being played the same, but they're performing much worse. So overall, I would say the changes are in the right direction. It still doesn't seem like it's enough of an impact, because again, Boros is still 15%, and I don't think there's any other 2-color pairing that's even close to that. Dimir's 10%, but it's not winning that much, right? Dimir blue-black went from 51% win rate to 52%, and Boros is still at 60%, roughly. Now, this plot is what I'm most interested in. So this is taking the game played win rate when played in your deck of the old cube format and the new cube format, and then plotting. This is a residual plot. So the x-axis is the win rate in the old cube, and the y-axis is the win rate change, basically new minus old in percent. So this black line is no change. Everything below this line dropped its win rate in the new cube. Everything above this line increased its win rate in the new cube. And we can see 2 pretty clear clusters here, and I've labeled some of the major outliers. Craterhoof Behemoth improved the most from the old cube to the new cube, and we saw mono green got a lot better too. So I don't entirely know what is responsible for the change, but Craterhoof Behemoth in natural order, like, pretty dramatic win rate increase on these. Worldspine Worm as well. Malevolent Rumble. So like green 6, we have Torsten, we have Woodfall Primus. Sneak Attack is actually improved its win rate quite a bit. Raphellos, Mosswood Dread Knight jumped up. So Elvish Mystic, Sowing Mycospawn. So like the main takeaway is green seems to be like the biggest beneficiary of these changes by and large. And then if you look at the cards that dropped, I mean, some of them are labeled, you can kind of see Giver of Runes, Monstrous Rage is the single largest drop given the change. You're an Oski, Fire Blast, Glorybringer. No, my boy. Glorybringer dropped, Virtue of Loyalty. So a lot of red and white cards did decrease their win rate overall. Now, they're still quite high, right? Like Glorybringer dropped from 57 to 55, but Craterhoof Behemoth increased up to 53.9. So the gap is closing, but you can see the x-axis tells you like these cards, the old win rate was significantly higher than these cards beforehand. So these dropping a little bit kind of puts them more in this cluster now in terms of relative win rate. Like Shieldred went up from 52 to 53, but Giver of Runes, for example, was at 59 and dropped down to 57. So it's moving in the right direction for sure. I think this new cube seems quite a bit more balanced. I would say there's probably at least one more step like this that could be taken, but it just goes to show you can color balance a cube by making some changes. They only changed like 10 cards per color, but overall I'm pretty happy with the changes and excited to see how the data comes out, right? Ajani dropped down. But again, the takeaway I want to have is not that Boros is fixed, right? It's still winning a lot. Ajani's new win rate is 59%. And like that's still much higher than basically every card on here that jumped up. So we're heading in the right direction. Maybe we'll get more data and see it is improved a bit, but pretty happy. Just like this is pretty cool data showing you can make a change to your cube, and it can have the intended consequences, and then you can iterate on it, right? You're like, okay, this dropped these cards by 2%, these cards by 2%. If we do that one or two more times, we'll have a balanced cube. That's very exciting. So if you're interested in more data analysis, about 2 weeks after the Arena Cube goes offline on the 20th, we'll get access to the full 17 lands data set, and I can do way more intricate analysis. This was just scraped off the web page, so it's not very helpful data necessarily, but it's all we have, and I was really curious how things were going. Pretty happy with what it looks like. So anyway, let me know if you want to see more analysis like this. Once that data drops, I'll be happy to post it. Hey, I'm sorry for the short interruption, but I just wanted to take the time to mention that I spent about 3 years designing my ideal card game, which is Algomancy. So if you like the way that I play the game, talk about the game, or view synergies, and you think that type of gameplay is something you could be interested in, maybe check out Algomancy. It solves the problem of first player advantage, solves the problem of Mana Screwer and Flood, and there's no expensive cards. It's just a self-contained cube-like experience. You can cube draft with your friends. The other thing that it does really cool is you can cube draft 1v1. You don't need to get up to 8 people, and you can actually draft live in the game as well. So it's a really, really fun game that's based on just strategy instead of like getting lucky, hoping to draw the right cards. It really allows you to make cool plays and win on those cool and interesting plays and synergies. So if you're interested at all, go to algomancy.io, give it a check. Otherwise, just keep enjoying the videos.